Ren stood on the edge of the great spaceport, his eyes fixed on the shining city that rose in the distance. The city belonged to the planet Vesta, a world far from the home he once knew. He took a deep breath and adjusted the small bag on his shoulder. This was the place he had come to find a new life. The air here smelled different, fresh but strange. People moved quickly around him, their clothing bright and unusual. Some stared at Ren, a stranger in this world. He was not from here. His clothes were plain, his face marked with dust from the long journey. Ren had heard stories about Vesta. It was ruled by Queen Mira, a wise leader who protected her people with courage. But Ren also heard that the queen's guards were strict and did not welcome outsiders easily. Many who came here to seek help or work were turned away or laughed at. He did not care. Ren only wanted one chance to prove himself. For many years, he had worked with machines, fixing and creating tools. His hands were skilled and his mind quick. But on his home planet, there was no chance for him to grow. So, he left everything behind and traveled across the stars. Now, here he was, standing before the palace gates of Vesta. The tall walls were made of shining metal that caught the sunlight. Guards stood by the gates, their eyes sharp and cold. Ren felt a knot in his stomach. This was the moment of truth. He walked forward slowly, trying to look calm. The guards noticed him right away. One of them, a tall man with dark armor, laughed loudly and said, "What do you want, stranger? This place is not for your kind." Ren swallowed hard. "I am here to work. I can help with machines or anything that needs fixing," he said politely. The guards laughed again, louder this time. "A simple mechanic? The queen has no use for people like you. Go back to where you came from." Ren's heart sank, but he did not turn away. "Please, I only want one chance. I will prove my value." The guards exchanged looks and shook their heads. One of them stepped forward and blocked Ren's path. "You have no business here." Ren looked up at the massive gates and then back at the guards. He saw no kindness in their eyes. Still, something inside him refused to give up. Just then, a voice came from behind the gates. It was calm and strong. "Let him come forward." The guards turned quickly. A woman dressed in white and gold appeared, her face bright with kindness and authority. She was Queen Mira. The guards bowed their heads slightly but did not move. Ren's heart raced. The queen looked at him carefully. "Why do you want to serve Vesta?" she asked. Ryan felt the weight of the moment. He spoke with honesty. "Because I want to protect those who cannot protect themselves. I want to use my skills to help your people." Queen Mira smiled gently. "Many have come here with promises. Few have kept them. But courage and heart are rare gifts." She stepped closer to Ren. "We will see if you are worthy. You may enter the palace grounds for now. But remember, your actions will speak louder than words." Ren bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will not disappoint you." The guards moved aside, allowing Ren to pass inside the palace. Walls, the city was even more beautiful. Gardens with bright flowers, fountains that sparkled in the sunlight, and buildings that reached toward the sky surrounded him. But Ren did not look around much. His mind was already focused on what he needed to do. A young servant named Nari approached him. "Welcome to the palace, Ren. The queen has told us about you. You will start by helping in the workshop." Ren nodded. "Thank you, Nari. I am ready." Nari led him through the palace halls, explaining the tasks and the rules. Ren noticed that many people looked curious but polite. The queen's influence was strong. Here, people lived with respect and hope. The workshop was filled with machines of all kinds. Some were broken, others were old and worn. Ren's eyes shone with excitement. This was what he loved. He set to work immediately. His hands moved carefully, studying each machine, testing parts, and fixing what he could. Slowly, the machines began to hum and glow again. Others stopped to watch, impressed by his skill. Days passed. Ren worked hard, learning about the planets, technology, and sharing ideas. The guards still watched him with suspicion, but some began to nod in approval when they saw his results. One evening, as Ren was finishing his work, he heard a loud noise outside. A crowd gathered near the palace gates. Rumors had spread that rebel forces were moving closer to Vesta. Rin's heart quickened. He remembered Queen Mira's words about courage and protection. He wanted to help, but he was only a mechanic, not a warrior. Still, he felt a deep sense of duty. He decided to stay close to the palace, ready for whatever might come. That night, as stars twinkled in the sky, Rin looked toward the queen's tower. He did not know what the future held, but one thing was certain: he would not give up, no matter the cost. The morning sun rose over the city of Vesta, casting warm light on the shining walls of the palace. Rin woke early and headed to the workshop. His hands itched to work, but his mind was filled with worry. The news of rebels moving closer to the city had spread quickly. The people were anxious, and the queen's guards were more alert than ever. As Rin entered the workshop, Nari greeted him with a serious face. "There's tension everywhere," she said softly. "The queen has called a meeting with her closest advisors and guards. Everyone is waiting for a plan." Rin nodded. "I wish I could help more." "I'm only a mechanic." Nari smiled kindly. "Sometimes, small skills can make a big difference." Rin smiled back, but his thoughts wandered. Could he do more than fix machines? Was there a way to protect the queen and her people? After finishing some repairs, Rin decided to take a walk near the palace gardens. The gardens were peaceful, full of colorful flowers and quiet fountains. It was a place where the queen often went to think. As Rin walked slowly, he noticed two guards talking in low voices behind a tall bush. They did not see him. Their words were sharp and filled with worry. "The queen is unaware of the danger inside the palace," said one guard. "There are spies among us. We cannot trust everyone." The other guard nodded. "Yes, if they succeed, the queen will fall. The rebels will take over Vesta." Rin's heart pounded. Spies? Inside the palace? How could he warn the queen? He stayed hidden and listened. The guards spoke about a secret meeting planned for that night. Rebels would try to enter the palace disguised as servants. Rin knew he had to act, but how? He was not a soldier. He was just a mechanic. Suddenly, a soft sound caught his attention. A small figure stepped into the garden path. It was Queen Mira herself, walking quietly, unaware of the danger near her. Rin's breath caught in his throat. The queen was alone and vulnerable. Without thinking, Rin stepped forward. "Your Majesty, please be careful," he said quickly. The queen stopped and looked at him with surprise. "Rin, what are you doing here?" "I overheard something important," Rin said. "There are spies planning to attack tonight. You must be careful." Queen Mira's eyes narrowed. "Why should I trust you?" Rin lowered his head respectfully. "Because I want to protect you and this kingdom. I have no other goal." For a moment, the queen studied him. Then she nodded slowly. "Come with me. We must prepare together." They moved quickly back toward the palace. Queen Mira called for her guards and told them to be alert. Rin explained what he heard. The guards looked at Rin with surprise and doubt, but the queen's voice was firm. "We must take this warning seriously. Prepare the palace for any attack." Rin was given a small room near the queen's chambers. He was nervous, but ready. That night, the palace was quiet except for the soft footsteps of guards. Rin stayed close, listening and watching. Suddenly, a shadow moved near the main hall. Two figures in dark clothing tried to slip past the guards. Rin recognized the plan. The rebels were here. He took a deep breath and moved silently toward the intruders, using his knowledge of the palace. He found a way to block their path. The rebels looked surprised to see him standing there. "Who are you?" one asked. "I'm someone who will stop you," Rin said firmly. A quick fight followed. Rin was not strong like the guards, but he used his cleverness. He grabbed a loose pipe and blocked the door, stopping the rebels from moving forward. The guards arrived just in time to catch the attackers. The rebels were quickly captured. Queen Mira came to Rin's side, her face full of respect. "You saved my life," she said quietly. The guards who had laughed at Rin before now looked at him with new eyes. Rin smiled, feeling a warmth inside. For the first time, he was not just a mechanic. He was a protector. The queen invited Rin to Stay near her from that night on. He knew the road ahead would be difficult, but he felt ready. As the palace settled back into quiet, Ren looked out at the stars. He had found a new purpose. The palace was alive with quiet tension the morning after the attack. Queen Mira moved with calm but firm steps through the halls. She was grateful to Ren, the young mechanic who had saved her life. The guards, who had once laughed at Ren, now looked at him with respect and curiosity. But not everyone trusted the newcomer yet. Ren felt a strange mix of pride and nervousness. He was no soldier, and the palace was full of danger he did not fully understand. But he was determined to help however he could. That day, Ren was allowed to join the Queen's Council as an observer. The room was large and filled with serious faces. Advisors and guards spoke about the rebel threat and how to protect Vesta. Queen Mira listened carefully and then spoke. We must strengthen the palace defenses. We cannot let our people live in fear. Ren has shown courage and skill. I believe we can use all the help we can get. One of the senior guards, a man named Cato, nodded slowly. If Ren wants to help, he must learn quickly. This is not a game. Ren accepted the challenge. He spent hours in the workshop, repairing old machines and studying palace security systems. His hands worked swiftly, and his mind was sharp. Slowly, he earned the trust of the guards, who began to see his value beyond his simple appearance. In the afternoon, Ren was called to the Queen's chambers. Mira was standing by a large window, looking out at the city. Ren, I want you to know that you have changed the way we see outsiders, she said softly. But there is still danger. The rebels will not stop. Ren nodded. I understand. I will do whatever is needed. Suddenly, a loud alarm sounded throughout the palace. Guards rushed into the room, their faces serious. There's trouble near the eastern gate. One guard said, Rebels are attacking. Queen Mira's eyes narrowed. We must move quickly. Ren followed the queen and her guards to the gate. Smoke rose in the distance, and the sounds of battle grew louder. The rebels were trying to break through the palace walls. The guards prepared to fight, but Ren noticed something strange. The rebels seemed to have better weapons and armor than before. It was clear they had new allies. Without thinking, Ren ran toward the wall where the fighting was fiercest. He saw one of the queen's guards fall, injured but still fighting. Ren grabbed a fallen weapon and joined the battle. He was not a trained fighter, but his quick mind helped him. He used the environment to his advantage, pushing rocks and using surprise to stop the attackers. Suddenly, a heavy blast hit the wall nearby. A section of the wall cracked and began to fall. Behind it, Queen Mira was trapped, caught between the rebels and the crumbling stones. Ren's heart raced. He could not leave her there. He dashed toward the queen, shouting for the guards to help. The rebels were defocused on the battle to notice him. Ian grabbed the queen's hand and pulled her away from the falling wall just in time. Dust and debris filled the air. The guards quickly formed a circle around them, pushing the rebels back. Queen Mira looked at Ren with wide eyes. You saved me again. Ren smiled, feeling the weight of the moment. I could not let anything happen to you. The battle continued for several more minutes. With Ren's help, the guards pushed the rebels away from the palace walls. The attackers retreated into the night, defeated but not destroyed. Back inside the palace, Queen Mira held a meeting with her advisors. She praised Ren's bravery and quick thinking. You have proven that courage and skill are not limited by a person's past or place of birth. She said, Ren, from this day, you are more than a mechanic. You are a defender of Vesta. The guards who once doubted Ren now stood proudly beside him. Even Cato, the strict senior guard, nodded with approval. Ren felt a deep sense of belonging. He had found a new family in this strange world. As the sun set over the city, Ren and Queen Mira stood on the palace balcony, looking out at the stars. The road ahead is difficult, Mira said quietly, but with courage and trust, we will protect our home. Ren nodded. I will stand by you, no matter what. The future was uncertain, but Ren knew one thing for sure. He was ready to face it with strength and heart. The days after the attack were busy and tense. The palace was no longer just a place of beauty. It had become a fortress. Guards patrolled every corner, and plans were made to protect the city from future threats. Yet, through all this, Queen Mira made sure to spend time with her one afternoon. The Queen invited Rin to her private chamber. The room was filled with soft light from the tall windows. Flowers in a small vase gave the space a gentle warmth. Queen Mira sat quietly, her eyes kind but tired. Rin, she began. You have done more than save my life twice. You have brought hope to this palace. Rin lowered his eyes, feeling shy. I only did what anyone would do. No, Mira said firmly. What you did was special. You showed courage when many would have run. You showed kindness when others only saw danger. Rin looked at her, surprised. He had never heard such words before. I want to tell you about my life, the Queen said softly. It is not always easy to lead a kingdom. People expect strength. But sometimes I feel alone. Rin listened carefully. He saw the Queen was more than a ruler. She was a person with fears and hopes. Just like him, Mira continued, the guards are loyal. But they follow orders without question. They do not always understand the heart of the people. You, Rin, remind me of the people I serve. You have a good heart. Rin felt a warmth spread inside him. He realized he was not just a stranger in this palace anymore. Thank you, Your Majesty, he said quietly. I want to help your people in any way I can. Mira smiled. That is why I want you to stay close. Your skills are valuable. Your courage is needed. Over the next days, Rin worked even harder. He repaired broken machines and created new tools to help the palace guards. He designed simple but strong defenses around the city gates. The guards began to respect Rin not just because of the Queen, but because of what he could do. Even Kato, the senior guard, asked Rin to help train some of the younger guards in using technology. One evening, Rin was called to the Queen's garden. Mira waited for him beside a glowing fountain. The stars sparkled above, and a cool breeze moved through the trees. Rin, she said, I want you to meet someone. She led Rin to a small pavilion where a young woman stood waiting. Her name was Lyra, and she was one of the Queen's closest advisors. Lyra smiled warmly at Rin. I have heard much about you, she said. Your bravery is inspiring. Rin felt nervous but pleased. He knew that trust took time. But this was a good step. Lyra explained that the Queen needed help understanding the rebel threat better. We do not know who the rebels are or where they come from. We need information to protect the kingdom. Rin nodded. I can help with that. I am good at finding patterns and fixing machines. Maybe I can build something to help watch for danger. Lyra looked thoughtful. That would be very useful. We need every advantage. Together, Rin and Lyra worked on creating small devices that could monitor the city walls and send warnings. If enemies approached, Rin's ideas were simple but clever. Slowly, the palace defenses grew stronger. Queen Mira often visited the workshop, watching the progress and offering encouragement. You are becoming a part of Vesta, she said one day. Not just a mechanic, but a protector, a friend. Rin smiled. For the first time in his life, he felt truly accepted. One afternoon, while Rin was working, Nari came running into the workshop. Rin, come quickly. The Queen needs you. Rin hurried to the throne room where Queen Mira was waiting. Her face was serious. There's news from the outer lands, she said. The rebels are gathering strength. We must prepare for what is coming. Rin looked at the Queen with determination. We will be ready. I will do whatever it takes. Mira reached out and touched Rin's hand. Thank you, Rin. Your heart gives me hope. As Rin left the throne room, he knew that the battle for Vesta was far from over. But with the Queen's trust and the people's support, he felt ready to face the challenges ahead. That night, Rin looked up at the stars once more. The road was hard and uncertain, but he had found a place to belong, a place where courage and kindness could change the future. The days grew busier and more tense in the palace of Vesta. Queen Mira's warning about the growing rebel threat was true. Scouts brought news of enemy forces gathering at the edges of the kingdom. The people were anxious, and the guards worked harder than ever to keep the city safe. Ryan knew that this was the time to prove himself. He was no longer just the stranger who fixed machines. He was part of the team protecting the queen and her people. Early each morning, Ren worked in the palace workshop. He repaired old machines and built new devices to help defend the city. His inventions were simple but smart. He designed traps to warn of intruders and alarms to alert the guards quickly. Some of the guards, especially the younger ones, began to ask Ren for advice. They wanted to learn from him, and Ren was happy to teach. One day, Kato, the senior guard, approached Ren in the workshop. "You have come a long way, Ren," he said. "Your ideas have helped us more than I expected." Ren smiled. "Thank you, Kato. I want to do more. I want to help protect Vesta." Kato nodded. "There's a training ground outside the city. I will take you there. You will learn how to fight better and how to use your inventions in battle." Ren felt nervous but excited. He had never trained as a soldier, but he was willing to learn. At the training ground, Ren met other guards and soldiers. They were strong and skilled. Some were still unsure about Ren, but he worked hard to show them he belonged. Days turned into weeks. Ren trained with the guards every morning. He learned how to defend himself, how to move quietly, and how to use weapons safely. His machines helped the guards practice, making their training better. Queen Mira visited the training ground often. She watched Ren and the guards with pride. "You are growing stronger," she said to Ren one day. Not just in skill, but in spirit. Ren felt proud but remembered that the real test was still ahead. One evening, as Ren walked back to the palace, he saw a group of children playing near the city wall. Their laughter was a bright sound in the darkening sky. Ren smiled and stopped to watch. A young boy approached him shyly. "Are you Ren, the man who saved the queen?" Ren knelt down to the boy's level. "Yes, I am Ren. And who are you?" "I am Talo," the boy said. "Thank you for keeping us safe." Ren felt a warmth in his chest. These people were the reason he had come to Vesta. Suddenly, the city alarm sounded. Ren looked up and saw guards rushing past him toward the palace gates. Ren ran with them. When he arrived, the sky was filled with strange ships. The rebel fleet had come. The queen and her council met quickly to decide what to do. Ren stood beside them, ready to help. The rebels attacked fiercely. Their ships fired powerful weapons, and many tried to land near the city walls. Ren watched the battle from the palace tower. The guards fought bravely, but the rebels had many ships and advanced weapons. Ryan knew he had to act. He ran to the workshop and gathered his inventions. He had built small drones that could fly quickly and carry signals or small tools. Ren released the drones into the sky. They flew toward the rebel ships, sending confusing signals that made the enemy's machines malfunction. The rebels were surprised and confused. Their ships shook and lost power. The guards took advantage of this moment to push the attackers back. The battle lasted for hours. Ren and the guards worked together, using every tool and skill they had. Slowly, the rebels began to retreat. When the last ship left, the city was safe for now. Queen Mira stood on the palace balcony, looking at the stars. She turned to Ren and said, "You have done more than I hoped. Your courage and wisdom have saved us." Ren smiled, tired but happy. "I only did what I could." The guards who had once laughed at Ren now stood with him, proud and respectful. Kato clapped Ren on the back. "You have proven your worth, Ren. You are one of us." Ren felt a deep joy. He had found a home and a family on this distant world. That night, as Ren looked at the stars, he thought about the future. There would be more challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them. Because he was no longer just a stranger. He was a defender of Vesta. The days after the great battle were filled with relief and celebration. The people of Vesta cheered for Queen Mira and her brave defenders. Ren was praised by many, and even the strictest guards showed him respect. But beneath the joyful surface, a shadow lingered. Queen Mira knew the rebels would not give up easily. They were clever and patient, and some in the palace whispered of traitors who worked in the dark to help the enemy. One morning, as Ren worked in the workshop, Nari came rushing in, her face pale and worried. "Ren, the queen needs you," she said quickly. "Something has happened." Ren followed Nari to the throne room, where Queen Mira stood with a troubled expression. Rin, she said. We have found evidence of betrayal inside the palace. Rin's heart beat faster. Who would do such a thing? Mira sighed. We do not know yet, but someone has been passing information to the rebels. The room was silent. The Queen's advisors looked around nervously. The guards checked their weapons. We must find the traitor before they cause more harm, Mira said firmly. Rin, I want you to help. Rin nodded without hesitation. He was ready for this challenge for days. Rin worked with the Queen's trusted guards to search for clues. They watched the halls, questioned servants, and studied the palace records. One night, Rin noticed something strange in the security system he had helped build. A secret message was sent from one of the guard posts to an unknown location outside the city. Rin showed the Queen and her advisors. This could be the work of the traitor, he said. Mira nodded. We must act carefully. If the traitor knows we are watching, they will hide better. Rin suggested setting a trap. He designed a false message that seemed like secret plans. The message was sent from the same guard post, hoping to lure the traitor into revealing themselves. The Queen agreed. The palace waited quietly, watching for any sign. A few nights later, Rin heard footsteps near the guard post. He hid nearby and watched as a figure in dark clothes took the false message and left quickly. Rin followed silently through the palace corridors, past hidden doors and quiet rooms. The figure moved toward the city gate, where a small boat waited by the river. Ian signaled to the guards, who appeared quietly behind him. The figure was caught before escaping. Under the pale moonlight, Rin saw the face of the traitor, a guard named Saren, someone many trusted. Saren looked at Rin with anger and fear. You do not understand, he said. I do this for the future of Vesta. Queen Mira arrived with more guards. Betrayal will not save Vesta, she said firmly. You will face justice. As Saren was taken away, Rin felt a heavy weight lift from his heart. The palace was safer. But the betrayal left a scar. That evening, Queen Mira thanked Rin again. Your courage and wisdom have saved us from a terrible fate. Rin looked at the Queen. I want to keep helping, no matter what happens. Mira smiled. We will face the future together. Though the palace was quiet once more, Rin knew the battle for trust was not over. But he was ready. He had learned that true strength came not just from weapons or machines, but from honesty and loyalty. As Rin stood on the palace balcony, looking at the stars, he felt a new kind of hope. The road ahead would be hard, but with courage and friends, they could overcome any shadow. The palace was calm in the early morning light. Queen Mira stood at the balcony, looking out over the city of Vesta. The sun rose slowly, casting warm colors over the buildings and streets. The city was alive, full of hope and new energy. Ian joined the Queen, feeling the quiet strength of the moment. He had grown much since arriving in Vesta. From a simple mechanic, he had become a defender and trusted friend to the Queen. But the journey was not over. Queen Mira turned to Rin. The rebels are still out there, but they have lost much. Your bravery and ideas helped protect this kingdom. Rin smiled softly. I only did what I could. I want to do more. Mira nodded. And you will. We must rebuild and grow stronger. The people need hope and unity. Together, they walked through the palace halls. Guards and advisors greeted them with respect. The city was preparing for a festival to celebrate their survival and strength. As the days passed, Rin worked with the Queen and her advisors to improve life in Vesta. He helped build new machines that brought clean water and better lighting to the city. He taught the young guards how to use technology to keep the city safe. One afternoon, Rin met with Lyra, the Queen's advisor who had helped him before. The people are beginning to trust the future again, she said. Your work has made a difference. Rin felt proud. It is not just me. The Queen and everyone here have worked hard. Lyra smiled. True, but you showed them a new way to protect and serve. The festival arrived, and the city was filled with music and laughter. People wore bright clothes, and the streets were decorated with colorful banners. Queen Mira stood on the main stage, her voice strong as she spoke. To her people, we have faced danger and betrayal, she said, but together, We are stronger. Thanks to courage and kindness, we will build a future of peace. The crowd cheered. And Ren felt tears of happiness. This was the home he had found that night. Ren and the queen stood under the stars once more. Mira turned to him and said, "You saved my life twice, Ren. You saved this kingdom. You have my deepest thanks." Ren shook his head gently. "It was not just me. It was all of us working together." Mira smiled. "Yes, but you were the spark. You showed us what is possible when we believe in each other." Ren looked at the sky. Thinking about the journey, he remembered the fear, the battles, and the doubts. But now, he saw only hope. "I will stay by your side," Ren said, "for whatever comes next." Queen Mira nodded. "And I will stand with you." The future was uncertain. But Ren knew one thing. Together, they could face any challenge. Vesta was their home, and they would protect it with courage, heart, and unity.